Hey folks, Nick here from Another BookTube channel, and today I'll be showing you a bit of a piece of lost media. This is Wallace Wood's Shattuck. Let me tell you a little bit about how I came across this, and then I'll tell you, what it actually is. I had never heard of this before, but I do, I love Wallace Wood, Wally Wood, as he hated to be called. I was browsing the shelves at my local comic shop, and I saw this sticking out, and literally it was sticking out because it is comic strip size. I happened to grab it, open it up, and what I found on the inside was that it was completely split along the end paper. So this is the original end paper here, and on the piece that connects to the cover casing, it was the same pattern. Down here, it was just completely detached. Same thing on the back. So the text block was totally loose within the cover casing. Not a problem for me. I bind books as a hobby. If you may have seen some, if you follow my channel, you've probably seen a few of my my special editions. So I took it up to the counter, spoke to the owner, who I've known for 10 years, and I said, "Hey, you can't sell this book. It's completely damaged. Give it to me for free." And he said, "Yep, sure, just take it." He damaged it out for me. I brought it home, added a new end paper of my own. I did a green on the orange on the back, green on the front, and it's a book again. It totally functions, totally fine. So this is a edition that was published by Fantagraphics in 2016. It's an original art edition, and it was actually easier for them to publish this as an original art edition than to print scans of the original comic strip. Why is that? This is a comic strip that Wally Wood created in the early 70s. For distribution to the armed forces. It was published in the Overseas Weekly, and it was up to the publication of this book only really ever seen by troops during the Vietnam War. It was a newspaper distributed on their bases, and the newspaper, it was specifically aimed at them. It was for the regular GIs. It wasn't really for the generals, and they would actually post things in there that were critical of the higher ups, and it led to some friction. But what Wally Wood put in there, most people know Sally Forth and Cannon. Those are a bit more well known. They each had their own kind of reprints in later years, but Shattuck was completely forgotten until Fantagraphics dug this up. They found every piece of original art for the series, and that's what this book is. It is the original art, not scans of the comic strip as it was printed. And that's great because you get to see, all of the whiteout and a little bit of like the pencil drawing underneath. I love these, the artist edition type things. So Shattuck is about it's a men's adventure, kind of erotic Western. The main character is Merle Shattuck, and as you can tell from the very first page, a big feature of this strip, a big selling point for the troops, was boobies. Lots of boobies. I love that there's a lot of whiteout all over the women, particularly on their breasts. Really goes to show where the attention was paid. It was like, no, we got to get these right. That's why they're picking up the Overseas Weekly. You'll also see that the credit is by Howard Chaykin and Nicola Cootie. Cootie? I don't know. But this is a very early work by Howard Chaykin while he was still breaking in. He didn't last a very long time on the strip. In the back there's an explanation about like the history of the strip, and he explains he wasn't very good at this time. He was kind of phoning it in. Wood fired him pretty quickly and replaced him with another newcomer, Dave Cockrum, a name that you probably recognize if you're a big Marvel fan. Cockrum is very well known for X-Men, a very lengthy run on X-Men. Yeah, you see whiteout in other places. It's not just on the boobies. I like the use of it here for the gunshot effect. Really fun action. Chaykin is disparaging of his efforts. I think these early ones look really great. The action is a lot of fun. And the women look great. The actual division of labor for this strip was a little all over the place. It's described that um, he would have like cutie pull swipes from other strips, and would ink over it, and you could see Wally Wood inks all over the place here. But other times, Dave Cockrum would ink, or Dave Cockrum would just pencil, or Jack Abel would do the inking. It was kind of all over the place. They had guest inkers that would just do like one issue or one panel. These women and their enormous breasts, that's total Wallace Wood. One thing that was common for each was that Wood he plotted everything. He wrote the strip, and he would do layouts, and he would show, this is where the word balloons are going to go. This is what the general composition should be. You guys, fill in the blanks, doing real penciling, doing real inking. But I think it was mostly a by committee type of thing, like whoever was available, next man up. We are out of the Howard Chaykin era already. I believe we've entered Dave Cockrum era. This is my favorite bit. Merle Shattuck is a cowboy, bit of a rambling man who just so easily finds women to have sex with. This one, he hitches a ride on a station, in a coach, in a wagon, and there's just a beautiful woman in the back seat, and she just says, "Well, Mr. Shattuck, since it's going to be a long trip, why don't we?" And he just goes, "Yep." And then the next panel is they're banging. It's that easy. And it's a lot of that. It's a lot of how quickly can we get these girls out of their clothes? How quickly can we get Shattuck into a gunfight? How can we get, action and sex as soon as possible? And it's a lot of fun, I gotta say. I've read some Sally Forth. I've read a little bit of canon, and they've definitely got their merits. Wood's artwork is definitely the draw there, but this was a kind of a fun story. The Shattuck starts as just a cowboy. He kind of accidentally falls into a position where he defends this town from worse outlaws, and they end up offering him the position of sheriff, which he takes because it's a really great payday for him. And so he just spends a lot of time in the town doing that and defending it from other unsavory individuals. Wally Wood created this when he moved from New York City to Long Island. More whiteout on the boobs there. Gotta make sure they are perfect. Gotta get them right for our troops. He moved to Long Island in the early 70s, and it was actually Nick Cootie's idea to start up a studio. Cootie was one of the people that shared the studio. The other was Sid Shores. Sid Shores, famous inker for Jack Kirby, worked on early Marvel. But at this stage in the early 70s, he was really desperate, not finding work anywhere. There's an anecdote in the back where it's mentioned that Joe Giella, another Silver Age comic book artist, he was in New York for jury duty. He ended up meeting up with Sid Shores, who told him that he's driving a cab to make ends meet. Like he's got no artwork coming in available for him. And Wood was a big fan of Shores. He really respected him and his past work. So he had Shores in mind when he created Shattuck. This was going to be a vessel for him to have consistent work. But as things would kind of work out, Shores ended up getting a couple offers right around the time this strip was getting off the ground, and he didn't need it. I don't know that Wood was like insulted that suddenly Shores was unavailable. He probably felt glad that his old friend and someone that he really respected was finally getting some work again. So that's where he reached out to some up and comers like Chaykin, like Dave Cockrum. At this stage in the strip, Shattuck has tried to hook up with Karen, who is a respectable woman, unlike the other women that he was gallivanting with throughout the strip, who were very easy. She was, playing a little hard to get, and he didn't know how to really handle her, and so she's being very cold to him now. She wishes he would kind of take advantage of her a little bit. Again, this is men's adventure for the armed forces, so the all of the male characters, and particularly Shattuck, is portrayed as like everybody wants to have sex with him. He is the hero of the story. He swoops in with a gun, kills the bad guys, and all of the women cannot wait to throw themselves at him and experience his incredible sexual prowess. Classic men's adventure stuff, which really makes this perfect for Garb August. I should have led with that. I mean, where I'm in the middle of this month where I'm doing the reading event, Garb August, celebrating trashy books, and doesn't get a whole lot trashier than Shattuck. I mean, you've seen all the nudity, you've seen all the gunfights and the fighting. It was perfect. It really worked out very serendipitously that I found this when I did. Shattuck has left the town that he was the sheriff of. He didn't like, I guess, just being, he didn't like doing things by the letter of the law. He wanted to be free. He wanted to be a cowboy again, even though on one of these pages he talks about how much he hates cows. But he leaves, goes back to his old ways. This is a funny bit. He finds a wanted poster for him, dead or alive, for murder. And unfortunately, he cannot read, so he does not know what the poster says. But sure enough, it leads to him getting arrested and eventually broken out of jail by another outlaw who wants to recruit him to help them with a bank heist. The Dave Cockrum pages, he does, I believe, most of these. They look really good. And even though the back says that he did mostly just the penciling for it, I feel like I do see some of his hand at X-Men in here as well. Unfortunately, the strip ends right here. It's got a continued in the bottom right, but it never does get continued. Eventually, Wood just packed up the office and moved back to New York. His second marriage was failing, and it was just time to move on. So the strip just kind of ended unceremoniously in the middle of a plot line. But yeah, it's worth seeking out anyway, just to see some of this lost media. Something that Wood worked on, early Howard Chaykin, early Dave Cockrum. It's trashy, it's fun, and it's available in a nice hardcover. Hopefully, when you find your copy, it's not split down the middle. You can just take it home and enjoy it as is. But there you go. That's Wallace Wood's Shattuck. Let me know if you've ever read this comic and your thoughts on it in the comments below. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today. But now it's time to get back to reading.